Hello, and welcome to Lead with Purpose. I'm your host, Dr. Janell Gibson, and I'm excited to be here with you today. You may wonder, what's the intent of our podcast stating Lead with Purpose? It's that every podcast has a purposeful intent of content that we want to cover that literally will make a difference in your leadership journey. One time I was at a conference and I heard someone referring to leadership, and it said a leader with no followers is just a dude taking a walk. And it made me laugh. I thought about that and I thought it's true. So as you grow in your leadership, we want to ensure that you have the skills, abilities, and knowledge to lead such that you have followers. You're not just a dude taking a walk. For today's episode, I am thrilled to welcome our guests, powerful mother and daughter team, Chantell Cooley and Brooke Noles. Chantell Cooley is a co-founder and owner of Columbia Southern University. She is truly the epitome of a rags to riches story who worked 20 hours a day of her life for many, many years to build a university with her family from scratch. She is a published author. She is a recognized speaker, but she devotes so much of her time and attention to building leaders. And she does just that. She shares so many of the things that she learned in leadership with a hope of bringing that knowledge to the next generation of leaders and hopefully saving people some of the painful mistakes that are made. Her daughter, Brooke Noles, is a graduate in media studies from Auburn, and she has joined our team to try to use media as a way to promote all of the great things we're doing at Columbia Southern University. It's not just about our programs, it's about the leaders that we are building throughout the process. Chantell's a respected entrepreneur, author, and international speaker, as I said. And what's really unique is this is an example of where parents have founded a very successful business and they are passing it on to the next generation. They're passing on their legacy to their children, who are all the future leaders of our university. There's a lot to learn from this process of passing your legacy on. Thank you both so much for joining us. Uh,
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yes, so excited to be here with you both today.
Well, let's get started. Chantell, after more than 30 years of leadership, what are the most important lessons that you've learned about faith, leadership, and purpose that you hope the next generation will carry forward?
Again, thank you, Janelle, for having me. It's really fun to be here with you. And of course, you're my idol in the education world. Uh, being a provost and all as a woman, I think that's so amazing. And Brooke, it's good to be with you too, being my daughter and seeing her
Of
grow.
course.
So I get, I think, Janelle, there's a few things, but identity. And it's one of the big things is knowing that you're good enough to do what you need to do, not waiting for everyone to approve of you. Yeah, I can remember speaking in some meetings in my career and with my peers. I should be really comfortable with it. But, I would question myself. I even knew the content, I knew what I was saying, but then I'd wait for people to tell me I did good instead of just being okay with who I was. It seemed like there was a lot of striving going on. And now that I'm out of that world, so to speak, and I look back, I'm like, gosh, I wish somebody would have taught me that I am good enough at that moment to be where I am. I have a great track record. I have a title that means something, but most importantly, I was real. I already had it, but I just couldn't get to that place where you go, you know what? You don't have to tell me I'm good. I know I am. And I don't think it's arrogance. It is just knowing you're confident in yourself. And, Janelle, we're the same age. You know how important that is.
Mhm.
In this day, you really need to go into a room with confidence instead of holding your head down a little bit, not knowing what you carry, what you're good at. You do know, but you're just waiting for somebody to tell you. And I think I went through my whole career with a lot of that. Even though I was co-founder of a university, I did well. My confidence and that identity was a problem, but now I see it all, and I really love helping people. Like, hey, look, I can save you 25, 30 years. Come on, believe in yourself right now. And I tell Brooke that. I know you do too.
Yep.
It's like, Brooke, you're good enough to be right where you are, right at this
Yeah.
moment. You're going to be better tomorrow and the next day, but today you're all in.
Hmm.
So it's so funny you say that because that's exactly what I was going to ask you a little more about. As a parent and someone that has had so much success, but someone that has struggled with, I think what many first generation successful leaders struggle with, Chantel, is am I good enough? The imposter syndrome, what do people really think of me? How did that influence how you raised Brooke?
Yeah. Brooke is very in tune. She saw everything. When I'm thinking I'm talking on the phone, she's not listening, and she's a kid. She's listening to everything.
I was listening to everything. Oh yeah.
So, you know,
Too much,
um,
probably.
and I tried to expose her to some things and bring her to the
Mhm.
office sometime. And then I think basically it was, at school when things happen and you don't feel confident in yourself. I was really pushing her, like, okay, we can blame everybody, but we need to pick ourselves back up. My dad said, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get back up. And I think
Right,
honestly, that's what I was trying to teach Brooke is get
Hmm.
back up fast. You're gonna fail. It's okay, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna miss the mark,
right, right.
but you gotta, it's training.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
is. And it's so hopefully hearing that has made a big difference. And I know it has. So, Brooke, I'm going to take that and I'm just going to pivot to you, right?
Okay.
Growing up, watching your family build Columbia Southern University from the ground up, how did
Mm.
that experience shape the way that you see leadership, purpose, and what it means to build something that lasts?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm really excited to be here. But to talk about that, well, I'll go off of what Mom said really quick about the believing in yourself. That's something I really learned a lot this year. I turned 30. Janelle, you helped me. Janelle is my amazing boss. And I'm just so appreciative of her and my mom and just speaking into my life. But believing in yourself. Growing up watching, kids do watch their parents. They watch
Mhm.
everything we do. And we're talking about generations. And even those conversations that I was listening to subconsciously, I was learning about leadership, how to believe in yourself, even when I didn't know it. But this year, yeah, has really been pivotal for me, coming back to CSU and really just believing in myself and saying, you know what? Taking what my mom said, I am good enough right now. Even what I'm saying right now, it's good enough right now. That's what I have to offer. And I don't have to go ruminate on it and overthink it because that's me and that's what I have to offer. So that's one of the big lessons that I learned growing up. And just about leadership and purpose, CSU was started in 1993, I believe, right, Mom? So started by my grandfather, Dr. Bob Mays, my mom's dad, and he had a dream to start an online university in 1993. And 2 years later, I was born in 95. So I really did grow up inside the story of CSU. I think there's pictures of me as a baby in the office sometimes.
There are.
Yeah, and so just being surrounded by that environment, it taught me so much. And seeing my family build nothing from coming from nothing to what it is today was really, really amazing. And that taught me a lot about leadership and perseverance and having that grit, because there were good
Hmm.
days, but I know there was some really bad days and hard days too. And so seeing their perseverance over the years and that consistency has really, I feel like, impacted me as a person. Yeah, and just given me purpose being back at CSU. I think, something I heard mom say, so mom, this is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. We're at CSU to change and improve lives through
Yep.
education. And so in my 20s, I'm 30 now, but it took me a second to figure out, where I belong. And Janelle, you helped me with that too, trying to find my purpose and how I can give back. And I think being in whatever field you're in, wherever people work, being able to give back to people, for us it's education, but that has really given me purpose and fulfillment to just be able to help other people. So, I hope that answered the question, but yeah.
It it did. And I'm
Yeah.
going to add something for all of our listeners out there who are in similar circumstances. I'm sure they can relate to what you're saying, Brooke, that you felt even more pressure and a higher standard because you are coming into an organization, with more than 1,000 employees as the owner's daughter and trying to prove yourself, right? So, any of you
Mhm.
out there, you work harder than everybody else. You put more effort into every detail that you have because you do. You feel like you have to have something to prove, right? See me for my work and value. I didn't
Yeah.
just walk into this, I am
Mhm.
earning it. And I
Right.
think that is something that is a really heavy weight. And
Mhm.
I see it and I saw it on you. And I've seen how much you've grown as you've tried to deal with that. And
Mhm.
you have blown away so many of our high level leadership at Columbia, Southern University with your skills, your ability. But
Thank
just
you.
talk for a minute about what that pressure feels like, because I believe that our listeners will be able to relate to that.
Yeah. I think 20s are, at least for me, my 20s were difficult because I was trying to find, where do I fit? Where do I go? How can I be fulfilled? And yeah, working for, if your parents started something and you're wanting to work in their legacy, you can have that pressure that you put on yourself because I didn't build CSU. I was just born into it. I grew up in it. And now here I am as the next generation. And so, yeah, you're right, Janelle. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm better than I was, that's for sure. And just believing in myself and saying I am meant to be here. This
Yes.
is amazing what we're doing. And we do own CSU. My family did start it, and I'm proud of it. And so
Mhm.
I think that believing in yourself and having that confidence, and walking with your head held high. I would just walk into rooms, want to be a wallflower, stay against the wall, chin down. No, we walk into our room with our head held high, our chin is raised. We believe in ourselves. We know we're great leaders. We're great communicators. And if you really, if even if you don't believe that and you start speaking that over yourself,
Yes.
you're eventually going to believe it. And that's what I worked on this year was just owning that. And so, yeah, I would encourage anyone, if you're walking into a family legacy, whatever that looks like for you, take a deep breath. Try to take the pressure off. Don't be so hard on yourself. And just know that if you're doing your best, you're showing up as your best that you can every day, then kudos to you because you're doing your best. So, yeah, I think that's what I would offer.
I
Um,
love it. And on your mom's advice, picking yourself right back up when things don't
yes.
go right or they fail, right?
Mhm.
And you say,
Yeah.
that didn't work out. Okay, how are we going to do that different next time?
Right.
And so, Chantel, listen to Brooke. Listen to your daughter. Listen to what you have raised and shaped and developed. And what was it like for you to step back from your full time role at CSU and intentionally pass the torch to the next generation of leadership? Man, that had to be hard.
Yeah, I retired at 49. Goodness, had no idea that would happen. So You
Well,
know,
you didn't really retire. Let me
yeah.
pivot. You retired from
Tired.
CSU, but you happen to be the busiest person I know. So keep going.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what other word to use. I know. I really didn't. I changed locations.
Hmm.
I'm glad that it all happened like that. My body was just really wore out. I think, it's a lot of anxiety and stress. In education, my
Yep,
goodness, that's a fast pace. It's a little stressful. I'm sure it's stressful in all the other areas, but this particular one, whew, and I'm sure you can vouch for that. It's really nice to see my kids in the legacy. And, Tommy and I, my husband, we never like, I never, I wanted them to do what they wanted to do, and they did. They kind of did some things and pivoted a little bit. But it really is nice to see them back in. And I can't describe the feeling. It's very interesting. It's really, you look back at your parenting and you go, gosh, I'm really glad that I got on to them a lot. I'm glad I corrected them when they were
I
acting
needed it.
silly and
Hmm.
not believing in themselves, or not pushing themselves. So now to watch them, they are walking. It seems to be they're walking in who they are. But what's the best part, I think, as a parent, I pray for mentors in their life and the best bosses. I think as adult children, we still need to pray over them, right? And
absolutely.
you're overseeing Brooke as her boss, and Dylan has a great boss, and we have a great leadership staff at Columbia Southern that all kind of circle around my kids and take care of them and mentor them. And oh, I love it. I'd rather them do it now than me. I'm out of the picture, Like, so I think I'm proud. I'm so proud of them. And, one thing I want to add, and I know you as a
Mhm.
parent as well feel this too, is um, it's really hard to let your children fall.
Yes.
And
Let's talk about that.
okay,
Let's
yeah.
talk about
Why
that.
don't
Yeah.
you let me be the host and you tell your part, because you have something to offer here that I have actually. Janelle has been, for those listening, she's been a great mentor to me too. I wish I was there working with you day to day. It'd be real fun.
Oh, I know.
But in that's a great topic, right?
That is a great topic. In fact, it might be a great topic for another one of our episodes going forward. But you're right. It's really hard letting your children, who you unconditionally love, probably more than anything or anyone in the world, um, letting them fall if you know that the consequences are going to be really big, right? And I can't imagine what some parents go through out there with the size of consequences. So it's always a balancing act. When do I
Mhm.
intervene?
Mhm.
When do I try to help? I'm always here to support and lift up. It's just tough. There's not a right or wrong, but I think it has to prayer, guidance, a lot of trust, and a lot of faith in the lessons that you've given. And you really hope
Yeah.
that your children will make the right choices that minimize difficult consequences. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Yeah.
it's
That's right. I
it.
was talking to Dylan the other day, my son. He's 28, right, Brooke? I think he's 28. And
I don't know, honestly. 28,
yeah,
29.
he may be 29. I think he's 28.
Think
I
he's
don't know.
29.
29. He'll, Mom, thanks. I'll hear him say
Sorry,
that.
Dylan.
He said, Mom, you still get on to me. And I'm this old. I'm like, that's right. I'm still going to steer you, and I can't help myself. And
Mm.
the other lesson that I have learned is, as your children get older and you prayed over them and you just like, okay, I'll let you go, is you just let them be them and listen more than you give advice. Because Brooke has told me, I just really would rather you hear. I really don't need you to tell me what to do right now. And everything in me wants to, but I'm like, okay, you figure it out on your own. And so I've had to learn that too, just to be quiet.
That's hard. And that's really hard because people like
Yeah.
you and I, Chantel, we've had a lot of experience. We've had a lot of years, and you
Mhm.
want to pass that on, right? You want to
Yeah.
pass it on. You like to talk. We're both outgoing. And Brooke, thank gosh, we have children. I as well have a daughter who will remind me, I just need you to listen, Mom. Just listen.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm sure that's not the thing that y'all want to hear, so I'm sorry.
no,
Oh,
but it's true, right? We
Yeah.
need
yeah.
we need to hear it, and we need to
Yeah.
Mhm.
hear that you just need to vent. Because what safer
Mhm.
place to vent to, right? Especially
Hmm.
once you're an adult and you have an adult parent. It's a really cool relationship. And so,
Yeah.
Brooke, that pivots us right to as part of the next generation of leadership. What do
Mhm.
you feel you bring to the table? And then I want you to finish with something pretty tough. What do you hope to do differently to
Mhm.
help carry the legacy forward?
Yeah. Um, well, so just talking about generations and talking about just, talking to our moms and having those mentors. I think it is so important for all generations to kind of have that bridge where I'm a millennial. I don't know exactly what generation y'all are, but whatever it is, having that bridge of, okay, I see you and I'm not going to judge you, especially in the workplace. There's nothing more refreshing than having someone older than you that takes you under their wing, that mentors you, whether you're on a team project at work, someone that wants to collaborate with you, I think is so refreshing. And so I wanted to touch on that because I think it's important because I think maybe the older generations can get like, well, I had to suffer through this, so you need to suffer too. But I don't think that's how we should look at the next
Mhm.
generations is we should take them under our wings, offer our wisdom if they want it, right? And just have that bridge, that connection, because I think that's where we're the strongest is when we can come together, especially as women in the workplace, men too,
Mhm.
but the older generation of women rising up and taking the younger generation, offering them wisdom and advice and guidance and sponsoring them within their fields. I mean, that's like a blessing. That's a godsend, I think, for so many people my age in their 30s and their 20s, starting out in their careers. So I just wanted to touch on that, the
Great.
generation part. But I think something cool about millennials, I'm a millennial specifically. I think I'm kind of on the cusp of Gen Z and millennial. So I think what's cool about our generation, every generation has their, their what do you call it? Their positive things that they have. But for me, it was neat because I grew up without the internet. I didn't get a phone, a flip phone, mom, maybe until I was 10, 11 years old. But then we grew up with the internet and like everything that's happened up to today with AI. So I think as a generation, we can offer that fresh perspective, but we can also see what life was like before technology,
Ah,
but also after. And so I wanted to touch on that too, is not losing where we came from, never losing that, but also being open to new ideas. And that's so nice when wherever you work, when your ideas are heard, even if they aren't
yes.
used, right? People being open to those new innovative ideas. And that's how you're going to stay ahead of the curve. And I think CSU is doing that with all the new technology that's going on right now. Um, but I think I answered that part of the question. But yeah, just having that bridge, that generational gap, filling it and just taking everyone with you as a
Mhm.
team, I think is so amazing. And I want to do that for people that are younger than me. So
Mhm.
to just pass it on.
Well, and let me say something about that. You gave such a valuable lesson to us leaders. Your mom and I are at the tail end of the Generation Xers, right? Not quite in the baby boomer phase, but the Generation Xers. And there is a lot of here's what I did and it worked. So this is what you need to do. And that's not always true, right? You know, what got us from A to Z previously is not necessarily going to take us from Z and beyond. So that is where those of us that have been in leadership roles for a while really need to be self aware that we don't know it all, right? Chantell, your mantra, we need to keep learning. We need to keep reading. We need to keep listening to podcasts. We need to listen to others. And we need to listen, Brooke, to your generation because
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot to learn from it. And right, we need to do it with true enthusiasm and a willingness to know what you bring to the
Mm-hmm.
table. And Chantel, like finish that sentence before we go back to Brooke, because this is what you have been saying for the 8 years that I've been working, with your university. You say this,
Yeah.
you know, repeatedly. Keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just even recently, it's been on my mind. Like I had this Gatorade bottle here, and it's under half empty or half full or whatever you want to say. And I think a lot of leaders, we stay very low. We give out, we change lives, we work hard, and especially our generation, we don't fill back up. And you got to fill back up because you can't just stay half empty. I can probably go a couple of weeks, so can you, but it will hit us. And it's just not the wisest thing. And I think
Correct.
refueling, you got to go and just let it go and watch a movie. I love Hallmark. And I will refuel. I'll go to the garden or feed the ducks or whatever and listen to podcasts. You got to find your podcast and your content, your books, whatever, and fill up. Because if you don't, you're just going to be always giving out and never taking care of yourself. And, I was in all of that. I know what the rat race is like, and I know how to, you're exhausted and you're out already at the end. And then you hit the end again and you keep going. And then the end comes again. So you're hitting three ends and somehow you push through even that. And I think that's wonderful that we can do that. But I don't know if it's the wisest thing. I think I wished
I
I'd have
agree.
been a little more wiser. And when I hit the end, I know when I've just figured out when my end is an end. Don't push yourself. Why? I don't know. I thought it looked good. I wanted everybody to see that I can push beyond what I even have the capacity to hold. But now it's like that is not good thinking. I got to take a brief moment. But back then we were just trying to survive. We
Right.
we were trying to make the house note. And so, what do you do when you're in those crisis moments? Well, you just keep pushing through,
Right.
and I mean, and hopefully, you get a break a few years down the road, you know. But if you can stop for a moment and refuel, but even if it's just what, Janelle, like a weekend or a day. I know
A
you're
few
right in the middle of
hours.
this. You're working right, and this is your life right now, and you're probably navigating this thing. It's not easy.
No. Look, the 2 hour walk with you sometimes, just around the beautiful outdoors. You're right, the gardens, the ducks, like reading a good book, sitting on the swing on my porch. You're right.
Hmm.
Because I'm with you. I always fear that I'm going to be letting somebody down
Yeah.
if I don't answer that email, get back to that person, handle that situation. And they're never ending, right? They don't end.
Yeah.
You can't ever
No.
get to them all. And so when do you say enough's enough,
I
right? Is it
know.
6 p.m.? Is it 10 p.m.? Is it midnight? But you're right. Um,
Yeah. One thing too is doing that, since we're on that topic, it became part of who I was. My
yeah,
identity got wrapped into that. So I wanted you to know that I am a pusher. I can take down 10 mountains at once, and I could. I
you can.
developed myself into doing that because it was survival, because I came from poverty, and then, and you survived. You want to be able to eat the next day. So that was my situation and it became my identity. And I'm like, so at some point I go, what in the world? I don't want to be known as this. I don't
Mm.
want, this is not healthy. I paid after y'all said retired wasn't the word, but after I changed environments, it took me 7 years just to get healthy again,
Mhm.
you know? So yeah, like you said, sitting on the swing and it's better said, we can talk about this all day long, but when we're in your shoes and you're doing all the work and you have all these emails and people texting you a lot, what are you going to do when that happens? Are you going to really truly pause? Because if you can't do that, that takes a lot of stamina and effort. And man, I am proud of you if you're doing it right now. And whoever's listening, if they are doing it right now, go.
Yeah, if you're doing it, you need to reach out to us and
Yeah.
tell you,
And tell
what,
us your
no,
secrets.
I don't do it well. You help me a lot to
Mhm.
try to remember to do it, and it's always a challenge. But it's interesting, Brooke, because it kind of leads the last part of that question
Mm.
I was going to ask you, which I feel like is probably on par, is what would you do differently as the next generation of leader at CSU?
Yeah. Oh
Growing up,
gosh.
right? Growing up,
Yeah.
watching everything. You're
I
like,
mean,
I'm doing this different.
yeah, so I mean, what y'all were talking about, just I don't even know if there is a balance you can have between work life and home life because I think about work when I'm not at work. It's
Oh, of
majority of your
course.
life, right?
Of course.
But I think for me, what I am trying to do is what y'all just said is work can be stressful. It can be great. It's exciting. You have purpose, but learning to try to regulate my nervous system and not be so stressed, to have a good pace, to stop, to pause, to breathe, to go take a little walk outside, to try to, go through this life, our work life, and not be a jumbled up, tight stress ball basically inside, and I've dealt with anxiety, just being totally honest with anxiety my entire life. And so working through all those things, I think as a generation, just seeing, I mean, I saw how hard my family worked and they had to do it, but I
Yes.
saw how stress can affect you,
Mhm.
and your health. And it's affected me in ways already too, but I'm trying to learn how to manage it. So I think personally that's something I'm trying to do. But as far as CSU, I think it goes back to just moving that legacy forward. And I have a really cool analogy. I used to do what is it called in high school? Run track. And we would
Yeah.
do the relay races, the 400, I can't remember the exact wording. You run around the entire track and you have
Yeah.
the baton, right?
Hmm.
And so I thought that was a cool analogy for this podcast is my parents ran before me. They were behind me and they passed the baton, and you're only as good as the people in the race. You're only as good as their segment. They can do really great or not great, and then that's going to affect you, right? So whatever happens before us does affect us, but then we take the responsibility in our lane and we take that baton that's passed to us, to our generation, and we run and we offer great customer service at CSU. We have new ideas. We're wanting to carry the legacy forward that my family started, but also have those new exciting ideas. And I know we're doing that at CSU already, and just being back here and being able to help all the deans. I work with all the deans and with Janell and with President Ken Styron. And so it's been so exciting just get us out there more. And I know there's going to be even more ideas this year. So
Hmm.
I'm excited, and I think it's really a blessing and an honor to just see what my family did, see what they built, see what you've done, Janelle, and everyone there, the entire team at CSU. And I didn't help build it, but I'm excited to play a small part in hopefully just bringing that new generation, that excitement, that innovativeness to CSU. So I'm excited. So yeah.
Well, and I love it, and I beg to differ. I think you helped build more than you realized that you helped as being there from square one. And right, you have history, you have knowledge, you have understanding.
Yeah.
You bring forward the passion that your family has, the true passion to change lives through education, right? And that's what we do. That's why I'm at Columbia Southern University.
Mhm.
We feel it 100 times a day, every day, with our students' comments, with their successes, with our staff, with our faculty. But we hear that a lot, that you really truly do care. We
Mhm.
really want our students to succeed. We really want our teams, our staff, our coworkers to succeed. And
Mhm.
you bring so much to the table for that, Brooke. So much. And there's just a really long, positive road
Mhm.
ahead, man. Absolutely. I'm loving watching you grabbing that baton and running full speed ahead. I mean, that's an awesome analogy.
Me and mom,
Mhm.
we both ran track in high school too, so she
Oh,
passed the baton.
I
Yeah.
can see it, and I bet you both won a lot because I know how competitive you are, how fierce you
We're
are.
small and we're short, but we're
We're
fast. So don't
mighty.
underestimate us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Small and mighty.
Yep.
Well, how can people reach out and follow you all? Chantel, I know that you have continual podcasts, continual ways. Brooke, can you share how all of our listeners can continue just to follow?
Yeah. Yeah, Mom, I don't know if you want to
Go
share
ahead.
yours. I know you can connect with Mom on LinkedIn and then also her Instagram. It's Chantell Cooley, and then she also has a Brazil and Instagram, Chantell Cooley Brazil. Is that right, Mom? And then I believe your books. Do we want to tell them about your books?
Yeah, you can go to
To Amazon?
I don't think they're on there. They're at my webs. You can go to my Instagram and then there's a
Okay.
link there for the books. Yeah, I've got a lot of books. Uh, I call myself a marketplace leader. That means that my faith in God really carried me. And so, how do I bring God into my workplace, into my business mindset? And I write a lot of books about that. And um, so and I have a secular book called Beyond the Basics, where Janelle, I talk a lot about those early days and how I developed teams and a lot of things that I did wrong are in that book. I try to save you, and conflict
Mhm,
management and how to
mhm,
build the culture. That was kind of my area, is the culture of Columbia Southern. How do you bring in internal customer service? Because I think that's where a lot of companies and mess up, is the internal customer service is missed, and it's easy to miss it.
mhm.
So I talk a lot about that in my book, Beyond the Basics. And I also talk about how we have still have the culture at Columbia Southern University. We have people that have been there close to 30 years because of the
Yep,
culture. We have people leave, go for better pay. That's great. A lot of them have come back and said,
yep.
I'll take the lower pay because the culture is it's more than anything. So I think that's super important. And I now I do a lot of mentoring, where you can DM me on Instagram, and I mentor leaders and help them move forward. So it's fun, and I'm learning something new every day.
Mhm. That's awesome. And then
And,
you oh, sorry, Janelle. I was going to say you
no,
can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Brooke Noles, and then Instagram, Brooke Cooley Knowles. And you can also connect with Dr. Janell Gibson on LinkedIn. We do a lot of fun collaborations on there, and I work with her on
Mhm.
her LinkedIn. So we're always posting exciting new things that are happening at CSU and beyond, and internationally with CSU. So lots of exciting things for sure.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
be
I
sure to
want to add
connect with all
something,
of us. Yeah.
and I want to add something about Janelle. Because I'm really close to Janelle, and so she's our provost, of course, as you know. But I really think that what she's doing is, and Janelle, you tell me if this is right, because we could probably help a lot of people. She's got this great position. She worked hard to get there as a provost, And now she's doing this podcast, which I talked her into all of it. Because there's a lot. I think we have to separate. If I could have done this in my career, separate. And there's another part of her that has all this wisdom and knowledge that us women and men need to hear. And it broadens her identity. It's not just a provost. Now she's this woman that's full of identity, full of great ideas and thoughts, and innovator. And she can change lives on the outside of her profession. And for me personally, it has changed my life. It's made me more confident. And I wish I'd have done it in my career, but I didn't have time. But I know this is really not easy for you. But you, Janelle, are changing lives by listening to you. You're inside the career now. And just people want, I'd be on the edge of my seat going, okay, how is she doing it? And I'd be listening to every word you have to say. So I really appreciate you doing this. I know you don't have a lot of time, but it means the world to people to be able to hear what you have to say on the outside of your job. You talk education all day long and build teams and have an incredible team, but I want to know who you are personally and how you make it through life, you know.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful you encouraged me to do that because, Brooke, something you mentioned, your job becomes your identity if you're not careful, right? Especially if you love your job. And I
Yeah.
do. I love my job and I love what I do. So, but you spend a lot of time at it. You're spending 12 and 15 hours a day at it, and you go to bed, sleep
Mhm.
thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. So, doing something like this causes you to pay attention to what's going on out there. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. It gives you, you're like, I am more than just this, right?
Mhm.
I am more than just a higher education administrator. There's more to me. Yes, I'm a wife. Yes, I'm a mom. But to know that you have some valuable experience worth sharing and that you might make a difference for someone else out there, right?
Yeah.
They may not walk in that error, or they might take that next step, or they might have that conversation with their boss when it's time for their review, and they're going to ask for a little more, or they're going to ask for a bigger position. All those things that I know my generation, a lot of women really struggled with, knowing their value, knowing their worth. So um, I think it's so important. It also fills you up. You talked about needing to find ways to fill up. It fills you up to know that you bring that value and to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we hope so much that for our listeners out there, we want you to reflect on these conversations. We hope that you can see yourselves in us, right? You've walked the walk of the struggle, especially if you have founded a successful business or institution and you are passing that legacy forward now to your next generation. Or if you're the generation inheriting it, what that was like. Reflect on this and hopefully you can gain some insight. You can gain some more action oriented steps as you move forward. Is there, and Chantell
Mhm.
Cooley, Brooke Noles, you're both amazing. You both influence so many people in positive ways around you. Is there any closing thing that you would just like to finish with to just leave our listeners as they move forward?
Go ahead, Brooke.
Okay. I just had one thing. Even if your family hasn't, founded a business, or maybe you don't have that legacy from your parents, it can start right now with you. Whatever field you're in, you're creating a legacy, whether or not you have kids, whether or not you want to have kids, you can start your own. And I think that's really powerful to own where you are, to walk with confidence and say, I'm going to build something amazing for myself, not for anyone else. And even if it didn't come before you, it starts with you. And even if you do, like, it starts with me to carry that next generation, my brother and my cousins. It's on us now. So taking that responsibility, respecting the older generations, having respect for all generations, I think is important, and being open to collaborating and just building that bridge. I think that can make our world a better place, I think. So, yeah.
And
That's good.
30 years from now, baby Brooke, you're going to be passing that baton to the
Yeah.
next generation, and
Yes,
hopefully
ma'am.
you'll be, which
Mhm.
is something that we can imagine. It's pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Chantell, let's close with you.
I wanted to add something, Janelle. We were talking the other day about respect, and it's so refreshing to have the millennials and even the lower generations respect our wisdom. We're
Mhm,
not perfect, but it is very refreshing, isn't it?
mhm. Yes,
You know,
yes.
we have a lot of you now working at Columbia Southern, and it's just refreshing. Nothing better than to be asked, you know, about how we did things or whatever. We love to give out the wisdom and our ideas, and we like to save you time. But on another note, that was a good conversation we were having another day, wasn't it?
No,
We,
it
we were
was. It
talking
was
about our
great.
kids and everything. I think I guess I'd like to leave with just like stop for a moment and don't let your job be your identity. I know it's hard. Just you're somebody else beyond that. And that's a lot and it's good stuff and people deserve to hear it. So for me personally, I have social media, I change lives. It has done something for me. It's I have separated from just being the co-founder of a university to somebody else. And I like myself. I allow myself to be okay with me. And that's a journey too. So, hey, start now and start liking yourself. Start exercising. It's something I'm doing now. It's just taking care of me. So I think I'd like to leave everyone with that. Just like, I know the work is pushing you like crazy, and I know that you've got bills to pay and all, but it sure is worth it if you could take a moment for yourself.
Mhm.
Such powerful words from both Chantell
Mm.
Cooley and Brooke Noles. Thank you out there, listeners, for joining us. Check us out at columbiasouthern.edu, and we'll see you next time on our episode of Lead with Purpose. Have a great day, great week, great month. Take care.